Hello everybody, and welcome to another build log video. It's been a very long time since I've done one of these. So today what we're going to be working on is the M1A2 Tusk 2 Abrams from Meng, 1/35th scale. I already started this a long time ago. So I started this maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I did get through steps 1 through 3. So basically picking this back up with step 4 and then moving forward from there. Essentially what I'm going to end up doing, what the plan is for this, and all the wheels, all the road wheels are here, obviously just on the side waiting to get done. So what the plan is for this, instead of doing a time lapse of me screwing around with all the parts and so on and so forth like I did in my Leopard build, what I'm going to do is clean all the parts for every single step and then come back live to you guys on camera and assemble that step and talk about any issues and so on and so forth that we may be having. So that's the plan. Let me get going on step 4 and then I'll be back for the assembly. Okay, so what I did here is I laid everything out for myself. Since one side is almost identical to the other side, the only thing you have to watch out for is C61 on this side is actually 1 and A14. You get 1, 2, there's a third one here somewhere, 3. So there's 3 A14s that you have to use. The kit comes with 4 of them, and 1 C61, which is a little off. But other than that, there's nothing else you really have to pay mind to here. So, all right, let's get stuck into the gluing portion now and see how everything comes together on this. So this should be fairly simple. I am only going to do one side since they're almost identical, so to save some time I'm only going to do one side. If that makes sense. But so far so good. I mean, so far so good. I haven't really done much on this for however long now, but if my memory serves correctly from the experience I've had with the Meng Leopard, then this should be a good experience as well. The only thing you want to watch out for here is C12 and C14. It says in the instructions, just reiterate, don't glue these together. This actually snaps right into here. And so I'll leave that unglued. Doing this the right way? Yeah. Cool. Truly looking forward to this being built just to see what it comes out as, see what it looks like. Okay, now the 836 pops in here. Okay, now 838 pops in here. Yeah, this is gonna need glue. I was hoping that the guide wheel wouldn't need glue on here, but yeah, it does. That's okay. I don't need this to be moving. I just, hold on guys, I'm just making sure which way this is going on here, which is this way. Okay. Always dry fit if you can help it. What's going on here? Oh, this is going to be for the side skirts, isn't it? Yep. Okay. That's interesting if you think about it, that they had to like do so many upgrades to this tank for the Tusk 1, Tusk 2, the SCP systems. So many upgrades this thing has gone through, even in the last 10 years, not even counting, or not 10 years, but even the last 20 years. A19 goes those count. Does it go this way or this way? Hold on. I'm gonna get my big head in here. Yeah, it goes that way. Cool. I can't get my big head in here and look. Okay. Another running wheel here. Okay, next, whatchamacallit? I don't know what to call these even, so just gonna keep calling them whatchamacallits. So far the fit's really good too, so there's no issues with any of these as far as fit goes. Another one of these latches here. And this guy now. This guy goes like this, but I didn't clean this off properly, so hold on, bear with me here. There we go. Okay. Does that look right? It goes up, yep. Okay. Just making sure it's the right way. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side now, which is identical to this, and continue on to step 5. So I attached the majority of the suspension on here, just because there's really nothing special about this. I mean, it's regular glue it in here, slotted on here, just glue it, and fit was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Everything went on very similar to the Leopard 2A7 as well. So I just saved one just to show you guys in case anybody is curious. Just align it here, slide it in, push it down, and just apply some extra thin. That's it. That's on there. Yeah, straightforward. Nothing wrong with it. Let's move on to step 6. Well, it looks like we're moving right along, actually. So step 6 is getting the reinforced armor on the bottom hull on, and getting all the wheels on some tow hooks here. So got this cleaned up. Let's see how it actually fits. So that snaps on, or yep. It's a little tight. I think I'm gonna have to hold this down as I glue it, but it's not a terrible fit. So this is gonna take me a few minutes, so let me do this off camera and I'll come back. Okay, the lower hull is done. There was a bit of a fit issue on this side to where I had to push it down for it to sink down into where it's supposed to be sitting, but other than that, no fit issues at all. As you can see, it went down quite well. So overall it went down quite well. And I attached, I did a variety of the hooks. I did these open ones in front, I did the closed ones on the back, just give us a little bit of variety. Next up, what I'm going to do is prep the upper hull so it can go on to the lower hull easily. And then looks like we got some PE ahead of us, so alright, I'll be back as soon as I'm ready for that. So I'm holding off putting the hull on. I cleaned everything. I was holding off dry fitting it until we can do it on camera, just to do it together to see how it fits. Is this crooked or no? Okay. So I'm hoping it'll fit okay, but might fit better if I put it on the right way. Okay, so the way I like to judge this is usually... Okay, so far it feels like it's snapping in pretty well into place. So now I have to start putting some glue on here to start gluing it down in place. Just make sure it's even everywhere, which it seems to be. So let me start gluing this down. Now I am currently building a Mark 3D Merkava on stream, and that's a 2012 Hobby Boss kit. And I just put the hull on yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And that thing has been going together so incredibly nicely. Like, I mean, it's actually surprised me how nicely that thing is coming together. The only reason I mention this is a much more expensive kit that we're doing now, obviously. And so I'm hoping it goes together half as well as that Hobby Boss Merkava has been, because that thing's legitimately been a joy to work on. Here seems to be a little problematic. I have to do this like one little bit at a time, aren't I? Larger bits first. Okay, so I'm going to do this off camera because again it's going to take a lot of holding, a lot of drawing, then I'll come back and show you guys. Actually not bad. Everything seems to have closed up pretty well. All things considered. I'll move my light over a little bit. There we go. Everything seems to have closed up pretty well. There's really not much gaps. A little bit here. A little bit right there. I don't think I can push that in anymore now. Yeah, that's an imperfection for sure. Other than that, it seems to have closed up pretty well. So that's the only gap there. What I'm going to do now is I completely forgot, and the last step is put the wheels on. So you guys can see what it looks like with the wheels on. So let's get the drive sprockets here, and this is going to fall off every time, isn't it? Yep. Okay. So that wheel is staying on because this part over here that's on, it's going to fall off every time otherwise. Interesting. Interesting. And same goes for here, unless I can like jimmy it in there somehow. Which I don't think I can, but I'll try. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this one stayed on. So anyhow, and these have, whatchamacallit, these have rubber caps in them. So I'll be able to take them off when it comes time to paint. Just so you guys can see what it looks like with the wheels on. And I'm very, very fortunate to have pre-assembled the wheels a long time ago, ahead of time, when I was originally planning on doing this video. And then forgetting about them, obviously. Forgetting about the kit. And now, not having to do the wheels at least, because if I had to do the wheels, that would be a pain in the butt. It would be a pain in the tuchus. Yeah, these are all road wheels, right? Yeah, drive wheel, road wheel. There's no idler on here. It's all road wheels. Just making sure there's no idler because I'm so used to like assembling all tanks with idlers, so I'm just making sure there isn't. There isn't. It's our road wheels. This one's not. There we go. That wasn't going down all the way. Hopefully I don't break anything here when it comes time to take them out. But that's a problem for at least a few weeks from now. And one more wheel. There we go. Okay, these are crooked for some reason. Anyhow, so it looks at the wheels and the articulating suspension, obviously, here. Yeah, so far so good. So what I'm going to do now is get ready for steps. We just finished steps 7, 6, and 7, so I'm going to get ready for steps 7 and 8 next. Or sorry, 8 and 9 rather. Okay, so what I've done here was basically assemble step 8 and 9, all the plastic portions, and added on some of the PE portions on here. So all the plastic one was pretty straightforward, so I just went ahead and assembled it. The exhausts, as well as the headlights here, and the driver's hatch, and this is the second exhaust here. And I added on 3 of the 4 PE grills on here. Now the Meng PE is quite fragile, it's quite brittle, like the rest of their parts, I guess. So what I'm going to do now is show you guys how I do PE. So this is just the PE off the actual fret. Now it is quite bendy here, so what I'm going to do is stress relieve it real quick with my lighter, just so it doesn't bend as easily. Stress relieve it a little bit here. Okay, let this cool off. Now what we're gonna do is get some super glue on here. Get my handy dandy toothpick and apply some super glue onto the edges where the PE grill goes here. Like so. Now, take our PE part. Let me see what side it's going on. It's going on this side, so bend it inwards and just position it in here next to the other one, and hopefully not glue ourselves. Not glue in ourselves. It's much easier to do this off camera for obvious reasons, but now I just press this down. And voila, we've got our PE. This side needs a little bit more glue, so one sec. Push this down. I should probably put more on this entire surface here. There we go, push that down. It's not straight, is it? That's good enough. That'll do. Okay. So we've got our PE parts now. I'm going to move on to step 10. So I went a little bit further and completed steps 10, 11, and 12, which isn't actually that big of a deal because all I did was add the hatches on here, add the tow hooks, add the battery box, and close off the air filters along with a couple of PE fenders and the headlights here. That's essentially all it took, and it wasn't much, so I didn't think it was a big deal. Plus, I want to get started on the Tusk. Tusk 2, actually, because we are going to Tusk 2. I wanted to build the Tusk 1 variant, one of the Tusk 1 variant tanks, like unit-specific tanks originally, but I figured I don't care. I'll still use the decals for that one. But I'll end up building the Tusk 2 just because it looks better and it's just more detailed, basically, so that's what we're doing. Working on the first of the side skirt, or second of the side skirts. Actually, I already did the first one. I'll show you guys in a bit how that came out. But these actually go together pretty well. Like, I was afraid they wouldn't, and that's why I did it off camera. Did the first one off camera, but they actually go together pretty well. They snap together just like so. This one is going to need some glue over here just to hold it down. The only thing I'm a little worried about is how we're going to attach these after. So I'm not going to attach them before I paint them. I made that mistake on the on the Merkava that I'm painting on Twitch right now. Not going to make that same mistake here. So anyways, I got to put these little hooks on here. This way. But yeah, so you definitely want to paint this in smaller portions, just because there's a lot of hanging off stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's easily covered up. Oh, too much glue, slippery. There we go. Okay, page. Which one am I working? I'm working on this one, so it goes how? Down or up? I was like, this attachment point is a little iffy. Like, there's no real sense of attachment to here. Like, if you really look at this, it doesn't like snap into place anywhere or anything like that. I mean, it's got guide pins, but they're not really very effective, so I kind of ended up using these slots over here as a guide to where I'm actually placing this. So I just ended up doing this and just making sure it aligned properly, which it does. And then just kind of work your way down with the glue on each of these. And do the same thing on the other side, basically. Yeah, the fact that there's not really... Yeah, it's not bad fit by any means. I mean, it fits okay. It's just not very friendly as far as the fit goes, I guess, for lack of any sort of decent explanation on this. I mean, it works. It's not like it's a deal breaker. It's not like it makes the kit worse off for it. It's just odd. I guess just an odd attachment point, that's all. Doesn't make the kit any worse for what it is, but it's just an odd attachment point. And I did the same thing down here, just to make sure. And you want to make sure this doesn't come apart like it just did. There we go. Okay. So that's the first stage. Stage 2 is attaching the actual plates, the actual ceramic armor. So turn this around the right way, and that's going. It's going. So you've got little hooks on here, basically little guide hooks on here. So you just kind of, this does slot in pretty easily. So you're just kind of making sure I'm putting it in the right way. I am. Well, it's off by 1. There we go. So you literally just kind of, this actually takes hold fairly easily. But you still want to hold it down to make sure it glues down properly. You want to glue each of these guide pins in here. Not guide pins, but each of the contact points you want to hit with glue, or else it's not going to glue properly. Okay. See that? Should attach pretty nicely. And then we're going to do the same thing with the 2 smaller ones that go on here, which are a little lower. And you always want to do the upper ones first, because they're at an angle, obviously. So the lower ones cross over with the upper ones. So you want to do the ones that are pointing inside first, so you can put the ones that cross over with them on the other end. Actually, so while this is drying, we can attach these. And these do have an attachment point here. But I think they're site specific actually, which I didn't. Yep. I didn't write that down for or I didn't save that for myself, which one goes where, so that's kind of match them up, which isn't a big deal, but. Okay. Same on this. This is actually, so far, as I've been saying, so far this kit has been going together very nicely. I'm quite excited about getting started on the turret. That's where the majority of the detail is on this, so I think that'll really make the kit shine. I'm gonna, as I said, I'm gonna leave this in as many parts as I possibly can, just so there's not there's no problem painting this once we go and paint it in a future episode, or in episode 2, I guess, since the plan is for there to only be 2 episodes. One for assembly and one for painting. And as I said, these actually go in really nicely. Like really nicely. Have to make sure there's enough glue in there to hold them. And that I don't lose my spot to see where I'm gluing. Push it down to make sure it's even everywhere, which it is. And there we go, there you have it. that's the two side skirts. So this essentially attaches to the hull like so, and I tried dry fitting it earlier. It wasn't really working, but this is what it's going to end up looking like once it's attached. Ah, there you go. It's not coming off. Okay. So, but yeah, I'm certainly leaving these off for the time being. But anyways, I'm going to finish off the hull. I got to put the fenders on and just make sure that everything else is on, and then I'll move on to the turret. Alright guys, so this one's actually going to be fairly easy. Step 18. Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we did all the side skirts. I didn't bother with the tracks yet. I'm going to save those for last. The only thing I want to bring to mind is they actually have you drill out a few holes here. So the cool thing that Meng does in here, it actually tells you what variant of the tank each of these holes is for. So I drilled out the M1A2 SEP holes on here, and they do the same thing inside here. Now I didn't drill out any of the M1A2 or M1A1 holes here, just drilled out the M1A2 Tusk and SEP ones and Tusk here. Another thing that the instructions in step 19 ask you to do is if you're building the A variant, you have to drill out a couple of holes. The A variant is the Tusk 2. So I went ahead and drilled out these two here and these two here. And that's it. So what I'm going to do now is, actually I can do this on camera since I have all the parts ready, is I'm going to put in the, how the hell does this go in this way? Really? Almost looks like it should go in this way. The gun, not the breech, but the, this fit doesn't feel right, something. That's why. Okay, makes sense. Kind of snaps in. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's engineered pretty well. Snaps in like that. Okay. Now, polycaps also go on to, which way do you go? You go this way. Tell you not to glue this, we'll see. I mean, I usually end up gluing my gun regardless. Only because I really have no need for a movable turret. So I usually end up gluing these in. Well, this is actually fairly... okay. It's fairly stable, so it shouldn't go flying around all over the place, in other words. So, okay. Some more glue on here. Okay, and now step 19 is where the madness starts. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these two halves together, and then I'll go from there. I have to clean the hatch over here and clean that part out that well by the looks of it, and then I'll start cleaning up everything for step 19, and then we'll go step by step, so I'll be back. So, moving right along, I did step 19 for the turret. I basically added all the little details. I closed up the, God, when the ammo explodes, these things pop open. I added the, I think this is either an NG mount or a sensor mount. I added the antennas. Back here, I will have to add some kind of wire or something to this. I gotta figure out how. Close the turret up. It actually closed up pretty nicely. Actually closed up very nicely. So there was absolutely no issue with any gaps, anything whatsoever on this. So it closed up very, very nicely, which is awesome. And I started working on step 20, which is the gun assembly. Now the only thing that's a little weird is this step here. This portion here is they ask you to attach this photo etch piece onto here with a piece of tape, I'm assuming, so it can articulate along with the gun, like if you end up articulating the gun so it goes up and down over here, the flap. I'm going to not do that, so in other words I have to glue the gun in place, which is fine. I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to move on to step 21, and we'll come back and we'll start putting on the storage baskets for step 21. I'll do all the little details here, and then we'll put on the storage basket and move on from there. So I know this video is already running long, so I'm trying to cut back and see how far I can get. So here we are. I did step 20, 21, and half of 22, and we'll do 22 together. So I showed you guys step 20 was a little weird because they needed you to tape the this thing on here so that it can oscillate with or it can go up and down with the turret. I glued the turret down because I didn't want to screw with that, because knowing my luck this would have fallen off at some point. So, or turret, the gun rather, sorry. And so this is where we stand. It still blows my mind that Meng does two-piece barrels. Like, I still can't get over the fact that Meng is doing two-piece barrels. But whatever. I think the only thing I'm going to do is add a little bit more glue in here to make sure this doesn't come loose. Alright. Other than that, I did the side storage bins, I did the loader's hatch, and I got a couple of parts ready. So let's go to town and attaching these. And I'm assuming, yeah, there we go. Assuming correctly. Let's attach these on here. So far, so good. I mean, this is with any modern tank. This is where the chunk of the assembly is going to be. It's in the turret, but I'm enjoying it. It's just kicking my ass because there's so much of it so far, and I'm not even like halfway there. But I'm having a good time with it. Like, the fit is wonderful. I like the Meng plastic. A lot of people have issues with the Meng plastic because it's so brittle. I actually have absolutely no problems with the Meng plastic. I enjoy it. So I think I don't know, maybe I'm just used to it. I don't know, but I do enjoy working the Meng plastic. So. Let's see. They give you a choice of these two bins, either A5 or S16. Again, the A variant is for the Tusk 2, while the B, C, D are for the Tusk 1. So I'm going with the A. So I'm going with part S16 on here, which is the holes above the two that we drilled out, I believe. Yes. Okay. Just gotta melt some of that flash off the holes that I drilled out over there. I thought I cleaned that, I guess I didn't very well, at least. There's two. Okay, now the loader's hatch, which I'm hoping doesn't give me too much. Nope. Alright. Do I leave? Now we're closing this. Closing this. If I want to do an open one day, then I'll get another tank. We're closing this one. I'll get another Abrams if I want to do an open one day with like crew hanging out of it or something. C11, pop this back here, like so. Alright, yep. If it lets me. My stubby fingers. There we go. Stay put, damn you. Don't get fresh with me. There we go. Okay. And now I should probably put more glue on this hatch here. There we go. And now R40, it gives you the choice of R40 or R39 here. I didn't really check what the differences were that much, so I'm just going with R39. I don't know. I think one's closed, one's open. I don't know which one's which, so I'm just gonna... Ooh. I might have to go with R39 if I lose R40. Hold on a second, I'm making sure I'm grabbing this the right way. Just this way, and this should technically... Yeah, there we go. Okay. I know how to do it now. Okay. In we go. Like so. It's not staying put. Uno momento, por favor. There we go. No. Really, guy? I ain't being a pain in my butt. The hell. Alright, well, I'm gonna do this off screen, then move on to step 22. So, okay, so what I did here is I finished steps 23 to 26. As you can see here, I put on everything from the CITV to the rangefinder to the coaxial machine gun here, as well as the smoke grenade or the smoke launchers, and begun work on the what basically attaches to the turret basket over here. Nothing really. Everything went together well. Like nothing really stands out. So everything kind of went together well. And the turret is now starting to come together pretty nicely as well. Like all the details starting to come on well on it. The only thing I will say is when you're doing, I believe this is the rangefinder. When you're working on this, these doors here, Meng tells you not to glue them. I glued them because this is still drying. As you can see, it doesn't actually stay. Oops, sorry. It doesn't actually stay put. It just kind of wobbles around. So I ended up gluing these so that it doesn't close up on me. But other than that, everything kind of went in pretty well. And you know, same goes for if you decide to model these closed. I still recommend gluing them in. Other than that, everything kind of went together pretty well. And here's the detail on it, just so you guys can get a closer look. And next up, I'm going to do step 27 and 28, which is basically working on the turret basket. And I'll come back to show you guys, a turret basket and the AC unit as well. And I'll come back to show you guys the results of that, and then we'll continue from there. Steps 27 and 28 are now complete. Nothing really gave me issue on these, for the most part. Basically, I think the biggest pain on here was actually attaching this middle armor plate here, because it was a little flimsy. These weren't too bad. The turret baskets weren't too bad. The PE was a little rough to get in here, to get into these spots here. So make sure you guys like clean it up well, clean the gates off of it well, attachment points pretty well, and file it down and whatnot. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it went on pretty well overall. And the turret basket wasn't bad. The only iffy connection was this here, adjoining this main turret basket to the grills here, and same on this side. This is essentially not your only connection points, but your most important connection points, because these have to stick. I mean, there's more connection points on the bottom here, but so I did have to hold this for a while for it to glue in place. I'm gonna sand it down a little bit just to smooth it out a bit because it does look like crap now that I'm looking at it. But overall, not too bad. The AC unit went together pretty well, as did the vents here for the AC unit. Yeah, other than that, I mean, it went fairly smoothly, so we're getting there. I mean, it's certainly coming along. So next up, what I'm going to do is 29, 30, 31, and then I'll come back after that, and then we'll start to finish 32, 33, and then all we have left is a track. So crossing my fingers, we're close. And this certainly took a while to do. So anyways, let me get going, and I'll be back. I'm getting there. 29 through 30 something or other are done. I'm holding this up to show you guys because this isn't actually attached. So, there we go. So that's gone. Leaving these detached. But let me move this over now. So yeah, we're pretty much there at this point. All this here is done, and obviously I'm leaving this detached too. The only things I didn't attach are all the clear parts here. All the window, or all the bulletproof glass and so on and so forth, only because I'll hold off on that until it's painted. But otherwise, still, again, no issues with anything on here. Everything went together quite well. The only thing that's really left in the kit now are the tracks. The only other thing here is it does come with a few add-ons here, like a few extra pieces. That said, I'm not going to do those part of this video, only because I have a few aftermarket stuff, but I only want to do this video as far as what's in the box, what it looks like built out of the box, so that'll wait until the painting video to show you guys what's in that. Anyhow, I'm going to get prepped to start on the tracks, and I'll come back to show you guys how that goes. Okay folks, let's talk tracks. Now these took probably around 6 hours to do both sides. The one thing I will mention is the instructions call out for 81 links on each side. You want to go with 79. So I'll show you guys how 79 go on here first, and I'll build a stretch of them with you to show you how they build up exactly. But this is 79 links on each side, essentially. And I found that to be the ideal number. But I gotta tell you guys, you have no idea how excited I am for this to be almost done. Actually, this pretty much is done. Just have to finish filming the video, stuff for the video, and then it is done, because this project took a long time to finish. A very long time to finish, so I am very excited to be close to being done with this. Okay. So this is 79 right now. That's assembled on this stretch. It will be 80 once I connect this. So again, the instructions call out for 81. In total, 80 is the way to go. Again, this is 79, and I'm leaving myself. It'll still be a little loose once I connect this with the extra one, but yeah, 80 is the way to go, in other words. In that case, in total. But there's 79 on these, mine, plus the one that I'm gonna obviously connect with once they're painted. But here, let me actually, I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? It's through, and yeah, these are I don't call these a pain in the butt, because I actually, in a sick way, I enjoy putting the Meng tracks together. And there's like literally 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces for each link. But Yeah, in like a sick, weird way, I don't mind doing it because it's actually quite zen for me to just sit here and like spend hours upon hours putting tracks together. Will I bitch about it every time? Yeah, absolutely, because I mean, it still sucks. That said, yeah, I actually don't super mind doing it, so for me, it's actually not that big of a deal. Or it's not as unenjoyable as it is for others. I guess, yeah, that'll fit perfectly with 80. These guys aside here, and let me show you guys an actual assembly of these. So they come in multiple pieces. So you get your pins here, you get your horns here, your guide horns here, and you get one set of pads and another set of pads. First thing I did was you cut off everything on the sprue, basically. Okay, you get your pins and your guide horns together. So that's the first thing I did. I glued my pins into my guide horns and I let all this dry overnight. Actually, I did everything in one go as far as the pins and the guide horns go, and I let it dry overnight. Now Meng gives you a little form here, a little piece of plastic so you can place stuff on it, basically. So I need 10 of these. So you're working with, you're not doing all 6 at once, you're doing 5 at a time to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I need 10 of the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you guys notice, I also wasn't like super careful about removing the flash off of these pads. Some of it, if it's bad, I did it as I was assembling them. Most of them I didn't touch because none of it is visible afterwards, but I'll show you guys that in a second. So you take your flat pads here, set it up on this jig. There you go, jig, that was the word I was looking for. Meng gives us a jig for the tracks. And again, it's time consuming, especially if it's early afternoon on a Sunday like it is here, where I've already had my cup of extra strong coffee this morning and a Diet Coke or two. My hands aren't the steadiest to do this, but as I said, this is actually very relaxing for me. Believe it or not, I guess I'm a sucker for punishment or something, but I did not complain having to do this. Like, at first I was like, holy shit, this is going to suck. But once I actually started doing it, I like remembered how much I enjoyed doing the leopard ones, because the leopard ones were very, very similar to this, and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty fun. It's very relaxing. I got an audiobook going in the background and just sat here and did this. It's very, very relaxing. Okay, so now you take your pre-glued pins here and guide horns, and you kind of push them in. And I was pushing them in one side at a time, so I push them in on this side here, more or less. Let that sit. Where's my glue? Grab my glue. Pre-glue each little hole here, and you only want to get your glue into the pinholes here. You don't want to get it onto like the track pins, because then they won't be movable if that dries like that. And then you hold this down and you push in your second side of your pads like this. The only issue I had, call it an issue if you will, is these the guide horns were falling out quite easily, especially after you like cut them off. I had to re-glue quite a few of them on there, but other than that, no issues with these. As I said, it looks a lot worse than it is, because number one, I didn't clean most of this, so it's not like if you choose to clean it, then God bless you, because Yeah, I didn't clean most of this for my own sanity, because it's also not very visible afterwards, and it doesn't really hinder the assembly. Like, if it hindered the assembly, then obviously I would be cleaning it, but I'll show you guys that it doesn't really hinder the assembly process much, so. I thought this looked weird. There we go. Yeah, if it hindered the assembly process, then I'd be cleaning. I'd be telling you guys to clean all of these, obviously, but it didn't, so. For the most part, like, the ones that were super bad, yeah, I did them as I was assembling them, but, like, stuff that looks like this, it really made no difference. Just kind of fit them in. Oh, no. Come on, guy. Fit them in here. Nope. There we go. Take them off the jig. I kind of pushed them all together, and now normally I would let these, you know, set them aside, let them dry. Move on to the next one, pretty much. Since I'm doing this for the video, let me show you guys how I finish these off. Hopefully they don't fall apart. Basically, first thing I would do is cut the sprue off the guide horns first. And this is where most of them would fall off. Like, 2 of them just did. See that? So, I'm going to reattach this. I'm going to cut them off. And then just reattach them separately. That's another thing, if you're stuck having to reattach these guide horns, be careful where you put your glue. Again, just make sure it doesn't go in between the pins, so just be very careful when you're putting your glue back in here. To make sure you're not, like, gluing any of the movable parts here. Or the parts that need to be moving, at least. I mean, again, no big deal with these falling off. I'd obviously have rather them not fall off, but no huge deal. I mean, it's all gluable anyways at the end, so just gotta be careful with it. I'm actually surprised none fell out when we were putting the tracks, or I didn't see any fall out, so. In the second one, you cut these off. And the only thing I did, because the way these are attached, a little bit weird, the sprue gates are actually up top here. I went back in and did this, and I'm going to make sure that this section actually ends up on the inside of the tank, so you can't really see it if I missed anything. But and there's a section of working let me put that back on just for sake of correctness. But yeah, that was the biggest thing I found, or the biggest issue I found with these, is these guide horns fall off very easily. And I did let these dry overnight, as I said, before I actually went to assemble them, so it's not like I'm, you know, just glued them 2 minutes ago and I'm already putting them through this abuse. So now it just, yeah, the nature of the part. But anyways, I feel like this one's gonna fall off next, which it is, but that's okay. Anyways, here's your 5 track links, and you basically just rinse and repeat until you end up with 79 of these, and then you hold off on the 80th until you go to connect the tracks. But anyhow, that's that. And to actually call it that in total, because we are now completely done with this beast. Wrong way. We're absolutely and completely done with this beast as far as the build goes, and it was a very, very enjoyable one, actually. This thing is an amazing kit. I've had no problems with it, during the build at least. Absolutely no problems. Granted, all the Tusk 2 stuff that's going on the turret is in the back over here, because, yeah, I'm not putting it on. I can't find my blue tack to show you guys how it looks with it being on. But anyways, yeah, it's an exceptional kit. I enjoyed every last minute of building it, but I'm also very happy that it's finally done, because it took a very long time. But like I said, it is quite an exceptional kit. Very fun to build, went together easily. I didn't really find it over-engineered in any portion or any parts of it. For the most part, it was actually quite enjoyable. And the tracks aren't that bad, actually. So, all in all, a very fun kit to build. And that will be it for me, finally. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but I'm sure it's quite long, so I apologize for that ahead of time. And those of you guys that stuck through, I appreciate it. This build in total took about a month and a half. Granted, I wasn't working on it the whole time, but yeah, this is about a month and a half span of time for you guys that watched through this whole thing. I started this about a month and a half ago, so I hope you enjoyed. Painting videos will follow at some point, obviously, because I do want to get this painted. I'm not sure when I'm going to start, but there will be a part 2 or part 3 or whatever the hell it is at this point of me painting this thing, which will also be one video. I'm not gonna divvy it up like I did with the leopard. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that whatever the hell button, comment. I appreciate every last one of you guys watching this. And until next time.